Hey guys, I was getting ready to upload this, and there was one other point I wanted to make, and the other point too is the date. So today is March 1st, 2021. The other thing I wanted to make, and I was kind of talking to a buddy of mine about this past weekend, is that we have forgotten how to think. so, and and I'm not talking about maybe what you do professionally. I don't know what a lot of you do professionally, but yeah, certainly what I've been doing in all the years that I have worked professionally. I think you have to do that, but we don't really use our intuition. We don't really just ponder and think anymore, which I think is a big reason why people are getting really wound up tight about not knowing what's going on. We've gotten to a point now, and I've called this out before, where we as a people are so dialed into these phones. We look at our phones constantly. We cannot put the phone down. The phone tells us what we want to know. The phone, by extension, tells us what they want you to think. It's a real problem. It really is. Um, I know the younger generation probably have it the worst because that's all they've ever known, and we've given our kids cell phones at an early age. My wife and I, we kind of held out as long as possible until we felt like we needed to at least be able to get in touch with them and vice versa if and when the time was right. So I think at the earliest, they were probably around 12 or 13 years old before they got their first phones that on average. But the point is that the kids today, they all have a phone in front of them. They all have earbuds in their ears, and they're listening to stuff constantly. They don't think. Obviously, I'm older, and I remember, and frankly, it was invigorating. I remember, traveling. And from in the east, driving to Florida to go see family, and it was like an 8-hour drive one way. And obviously, you didn't have Sirius XM radio. You didn't have a lot of things, so radio was kind of in and out as far as what you can listen to. So there was many long stretches where all you could do was just think. Now, granted, I could have played a cassette tape or a DVD in some respects, but you just would just think. And I was in college at the time, and I was obviously I was in many ways kind of ambitious, if you will, and I was thinking about what am I taking in college? Once I get out of college, what's going to be my next step? Am I going to go into the military? How am I going to get the experience? If I don't get a job right out of college, maybe I'll go into the Air Force to kind of learn my trade, build up my resume, and so you'd ponder. I was pondering on that. It was very invigorating. Just to exercise your brain and just think about the possibilities. Think about what you're doing, and work through problems in your head, things like that. When I was in college, and I was going from work to the campus and back, I would be working on some sort of a project, and I was just I call noodling on dilemmas that I was having, and we, that was an asset, a tool, a capability that I think a lot of people are missing now. So we really need to try our best. Number one, just to unplug from your technology. And I'm an older person. I struggle with it myself as much as anybody else. So I can only imagine our kids that have been kind of effectively born and raised in this kind of generation, the struggle they have. One of my boys does a pretty good job. When we go out to dinner as a family, he'll leave his phone at home, or he'll leave it in the car when we go inside and just doesn't take it in, which is it's good. And I think the more you consciously do that, the more you'll naturally use your brain and think and work through ideas that kind of come to you. So there's that. The other thing is, I don't think it's by accident that the phone and a lot of that and how we behave around that phone is by accident. If you think about what I think is very well known, what the powers that be, and we call them whatever you want, how they want to microchip you, how they want to nanochip you. They want to get nanoparticles. This whole Internet of Things where they know where every blade of grass is, and they can communicate and kind of move you into a Borg scenario, just to put kind of an analogy around it. That's what they want. They want to control you. They want to more easily control you. And so that whole nefarious narrative, that whole nefarious movement, one of the baby steps in that direction is these phones. We're so dialed into these phones. We're so dialed into wanting to know what's going on. Is someone thinking for me? That we want to do that. And when the time comes to be microchipped, and put like a chip in our brains, so that we instantly are aware of everything. They can also in turn control you in every sense of the word. You'll jump all at it. I mean, you've seen in the news people who are voluntarily allowing themselves to be chipped so they can, pay for things or easily get in and out of office buildings and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't want to go too much on a tangent. I just wanted to put the point out there that we really need to learn to think for ourselves. We really need, as a people, to consciously put the devices down in a way. And when you have social things going on, don't have your device with you. Think, talk, communicate, etc. I can't emphasize that enough. My voice falls on very few ears, so it's probably not going to go anywhere. But I feel compelled to at least put it out there. So I'm going to try to kind of marry this up with the other point that I was kind of making a moment ago, that I'll try to put on the backside of this point here. Anyway, that was it, folks. We'll talk soon.
Hey, everyone. It's been a couple weeks or so since I've put out anything, and just thought I'd reflect a little bit on the quasi State of the Union that President Trump did on Sunday. Don't know if you want to call it the State of the Union, but anyway, I kind of looked at it that way. A lot of people are talking about, what Trump hinted at as far as, running in 2024. The one thing I would keep in mind, and that doesn't mean this is necessarily true or not, but I didn't hear 2024. I didn't hear any dates or time. If in fact what is happening, which I truly in my heart of hearts believe, that we have kind of a dual presidency going on right now, with Biden on the bad side and Trump and we the people on the good side, however you want to frame it, that the military is in control right now, all of that good stuff, if you will, then whenever this ship gets righted, whenever we bring back the government, the rule of law, the way we believe it should be there. I mean, who's to say that's not today, tomorrow, next month, next year? I mean, timelines are, in my opinion, a bit irrelevant. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to wait on bated breath for certain things to happen, because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's happening, and that's a good thing. In the state of war that we're in right now, which I'll continue to iterate on, unpredictability is critical. So I'm not going to bitch and complain that I don't know what's going on. At the end of the day, we're going to have to use our intuition and our, common sense, and kind of read the tea leaves as we see fit. So there's that. Trump did say a number of things yesterday in his, I'll just call it State of the Union because I like the way that sounds. He said a lot of things that kind of planted seeds, or could be construed in a variety of different ways. Talking about Melania Trump, the future First Lady. Now, granted, if you read the whole sentence, it could have been construed one way, and you could construe it a second way. He talked about the COVID shot, and he said shot around Biden in several different ways, and he was pretty blunt about it. Biden took the shot. He got the shot. Talked about the White House, getting out of the White House, being out of the White House. We know for a fact, looking at live cams, that Biden is not in the White House. So there was a lot of things that he said that, if we are to read words and things the way the deep state reads them, which is never completely like in your face, then there's reason to be optimistic. And then obviously, he said that it's long. This whole thing is long from over. It's not over yet. There's a long way to go. You got all that good stuff. So I walked away from it, feeling good. Let's put it that way. I didn't expect, and I don't expect to hear him come on and just say something blatant and earth-shattering. Let's put it that way. I mean, we're nowhere near that. And when the time comes and he does put out something like that, it won't be earth-shattering, because we will have been awakened and woken up to the realities of the world that we're in, and it won't be a complete shock to everybody. It will be, okay, that's that next baby step. So anyway, that was kind of my reflection on President Trump's SCOTUS yesterday. Now, the other point I had around just CPAC, this is just me. I personally didn't want to hear any politicians say anything. I think the election, the unscrupulous crookedness, unfairness of the election, it was so brazen that, and then the way, and our politicians, how they responded to the inauguration of Biden and the running on the Capitol building that we the people had no part in, the MAGA movement had no part in. Just the way the politicians have responded and reacted all the way through this, with extremely few exceptions. I didn't want to hear any politicians talk about anything. The only person I really wanted to hear from was POTUS, was Trump. So in my mind, now granted, this was CPAC. This wasn't necessarily the RNC. So I guess, for what it's worth, I guess there was some people worth listening to. Pompeo was certainly interesting and worth listening to. And so that was really the main thing I wanted to kind of put on there is, Trump's speech, SCOTUS speech yesterday, and kind of my read on it. Don't take dates. I didn't hear him mention any dates. So when you think he's running again in 2024, I don't think it's going to be 2024. I think whatever is going to happen well before then. But I could be wrong. The other thing that, while we're in this war and people keep talking about, a lot of respected people I like to listen to talking about, we got to make sure we do this right. We want to pull out the weeds from the roots so that this doesn't happen again, and it's gone. And we set the system up properly so that there's no way for them to get embedded into our systems again going forward. That's all well and good, but I continue to think to myself, who are the casualties of war while we try to do this right? And what I'm talking about is, pedophilia, child sex trafficking, all that kind of stuff, all that crazy, horrific stuff that we know is going on day by day, minute by minute, month by month. So while we're doing all this, I know there's a lot of parallel activities underway, kind of cleaning all that out, which is good. And I'd like to think that that's happening aggressively while we do what we do. And so anyway, let's hope that's happening. Anyway, that was really it. Just kind of wanted to put a few points out there. Don't read dates into dates that weren't mentioned. And then let's just all bear in mind, the casualties of all of this is going on while we're working through writing and correcting the system the way it needs to be. So anyway, that was it. Just a few points to ponder for what it's worth. If you have any thoughts of your own that you'd like to kind of share back with me, I'd love to hear from you guys. Talk soon.